A land of mountains and jungles, perfect terrain for ambushes. These soldiers are on patrol in the heart of the Philippine archipelago. Their mission is to track down fighters from the new People's Army, the world's oldest communist guerrilla group.
We can't really avoid combat, especially when we patrol, because we're going exactly where the enemy is. The most dangerous thing here, for us, is getting ambushed or stepping on a mine.
Generations of insurgents have been trying to overthrow the Philippine government since 1969. At its peak in the 1980s, the movement had up to 25,000 fighters. They're peasants, fishermen, workers, the poorest people in society, and ripe for recruitment by the guerrillas. The rebels pose a constant threat to the Philippine armed forces.
The insurgents, they mingle with the civilians, so we could not determine which is which. It is our hope that the NPA will be defeated. As they say, it becomes a cancer in the society.
The Philippine Army conducts military operations to repel the insurgency. But since 2023, it's also offered amnesties to encourage insurgents to surrender. They include this woman. She surrendered to authorities in 2020 after 10 years as a communist guerrilla. Now, she's critical of how the rebels use extortion to fund their operations.
If you have a construction site for a real estate project, you have to give them more than 30,000 euros. If you don't pay, they'll blow up your equipment and kill your men. That completely goes against the values they told us about before we joined.
Rebels who lay down their arms are considered traitors.
Since I surrendered, the rebels have been after me. They really want to kill me even today. I've already survived 3 attempts, and they came to my home twice.
Despite the threats, more than 30,000 guerrillas and their sympathisers have surrendered since 2016. The group has problems with funding, infighting and recruitment. The weakening rebellion is evident everywhere. Fighters, in hiding in these mountains, now number just 2,000.
Hello.
Lieutenant Angelica Plarisan warns people in this village, a former communist stronghold, about the rebel movement.
Who has children here? Everyone? So, do you want your children to be recruited by the rebels? Of course not.
The government's built a road, a school and a military base in recent years. The aim is to promote development and isolate the insurgents.
There are no more problems. No longer disorder like before, when abuses could happen anywhere. All of that has disappeared.
But the army's regularly accused of human rights abuses in its campaign to break the communists, including allegations of arbitrary arrests and extrajudicial executions. In the capital, Manila, this journalist is investigating alleged abuses by the military. The government has accused her of supporting the communist insurgents, a crime since a new anti-terrorism law was passed in 2020. She says she's the target of a witch hunt.
So they tag critics, human rights defenders, and even journalists as communist terrorists. But the point is to put that label on a person or a group to justify a series of attacks. So these attacks can range from surveillance to physical violence.
More than 150 journalists have been accused of supporting terrorism since 2016. Some are in prison, others have been assassinated. Communism is seen as a serious threat in this conservative Catholic country. Parts of the movement remain elusive. This former insurgent, speaking in a secret location, says the rebels are on the back foot.
Regarding the rebellion, they are really very discreet now because they can no longer compete with the government's weapons. Life has become very hard for them. They have almost nowhere left to take refuge.
After spending much of his life in the jungle, he'd had enough of hiding.
The worst, the most painful thing is really being hungry. That's why here, far from the jungle, you have the freedom to study, to earn a living. You have no problems, even if you don't earn much. But over there, the bullets are waiting for you.
Although the guerrillas are still active in 1 out of every 10 provinces, this former fighter believes their days are numbered. In May 2025, the Philippine government said it hoped to defeat the insurgents within 3 years and bring to an end a conflict that has cost tens of thousands of lives.